I experienced it for myself, not because of death or anything like that, because through meditation, I've kept. I mean, I spoke about it publicly, and it's something I didn't want to drag on or expand on it, just because some people would be like, "What are you talking?" When we have these experiences, not a lot of people understand where we're coming from, and they think we're crazy. They they're like, "Okay, Susan, okay, Karen," um, and yeah, that. So when you called me today and you told me about that black void, it caught my attention. So in my head, I was like, "Oh, well, tell me more." But of course, I didn't tell you that. I just kept quiet, so to hear your narrative. Um, but so after you shared that with me, tell me again, what's costing you peace now that makes you just want to go back to that experience, of which sometimes something's vibrating here.
And that's why.
Oh, is that you?
That is why I want to go back. Because this world never stops. So I have it on silent, but I don't have anything to do but to turn it off at this point.
Yeah, I'm more interested in the presenting symptoms of stress, so that I can figure out the magnitude of the stress that would make you want to go back to that switch.
But you see, I see how beautiful it is here too. So that's that flip of the coin. I get it. This is my vessel. I understand. I am okay with my body now, and I used to not be. There used to be thoughts of wanting to commit suicide. There are not now. I totally get that this is just my vessel. I am borrowing for this adventure here on Earth, because as soon as the heart stops, at least for me, instantly I was somewhere else and very aware, and I was still Christy. I was still me. Sarcastic, maybe say bad words, and I was still totally me. And there was another presence there. I got the book I Am the Open Door by I guess Saint Germain or something like that. Saint Germain. He talks about the void and the I Am presence, and I had this whole conversation with the I Am presence, and I almost felt like there was a little bit of a miscommunication on who was who, because I was like, "No, I am." I was, "No, I am." Right. "No, I am. I am Christy. I am Christy." And it was like glitter in my words, if that could make sense. I am Christy. I said it was, and I felt it without a body, but I felt it. I felt my name. That's possible. I felt it.
Did you notice the time that you were there? Or
it felt like a long time, but it wasn't. It was maybe less than a couple minutes. Very less.
A couple minutes in human time?
Yeah.
So you, where you were in the black void, you were there for a long time?
Actually, yeah, my husband tried to say I was in purgatory. So I'm trying to piece all this together. So yeah, I was in that black void, but as soon as I realized I didn't have a body, and I looked at my hands and I didn't have any, they were like energy. Who am I? And then as I looked around, I realized I was all black, and I'm like, where the hell am I? But I said hell, and there was a like this pressure of a not okay to say that. Like perhaps you should change your words. Totally weird. Like I would not normally just change my words. I don't think a lot when I talk, So sometimes I do say hell, So it was really weird to say that and feel a negative to that. I did feel like a pressure, like a deep, could you reword that? And I said, where the heck am I? I did. I rephrased my question. To me, that's really weird. To be in my own consciousness and try to please someone.
Wow. So you had willpower in those moments, whereas I went there like all pitch black, peaceful, like little dots, even stars, little dots, like in The Simpsons. If you ever watch The Simpsons, and sometimes The Simpsons will show the universe, all the black dots, and I realized I was like, oh my goodness, wow. So when I meditated in 2017 between 11 on or about 11 o'clock, and I forced my breath really hard, and then I could no longer feel my body. And I went to the black void, and I saw these little dots, little stars, and I realized, oh, like in space, as I was in space. And I was just like, in amusement is like a 5-year-old walking into an amusement park for like the first time. Exhilarating. But I didn't have. Oh, let me show you this.
This is my black space.
Let me get out. I want to show everyone the artwork that you did this yourself.
Yeah.
I want to analyze this.
And all those people are all me, but just to show like I was here, there.
Tell me what these are.
So that gets further into the story. At the very end, I after we were done with this huge conversation, I looked over and I saw all these lights within space, but within a tube. Like they were a designated area of these bright lights, just all going to the left. And I said, "Where are they going?" And as I asked, "Where are they going?" I was in it.
Wow.
And it was terrifying. Like I was in that on the way back to bliss is where I was. And then I got sucked into those lights back to earth. And it was terrifying. Absolutely terrifying.
So when you came back to earth, you had this experience?
Yes. It was horrible.
When I came back, the one thing about me was you started saying the I, and you started to, struggle with that I sense of me, where I was just really at peace, and but it was 20 minutes I was there. The one thing that I was very conscious of the timing which is heavenly times, what we call it. And even in the scriptures of Buddhism, there were stories about a husband and wife whom traveled. One was still on earth and one went to heaven, back and forth. But when he went to heaven, it was like an hour or two, and then when he came back down to earth, it was 70 years later. So the heavenly time was something that I noticed, started to pay close attention to these near life thing.
I have a sense of direction up there, but I don't have any sense of time.
You should have brought your Jeep.
I know we were in a hurry. I remember we were in a hurry because the beautiful nebula on that one, that's I bought this opal to remind me of that moment. Because when I look into my opal, I see all these different colors. And when we were flying through the universe, me and my guide, I had to say, "Wait, stop. I just let me look at this. I don't want to forget this." Like I must have known I was coming back, because I was like, "Stop, I don't want to forget this. This is gorgeous." And as I stared at this light that had all these colors, it was either pulsating or breathing.
Right.
It was alive. The light was alive. It was either pulsating or breathing.
That's incredible. I'm going to put this here. Okay. I want to go grab the artwork that one of my students gave me. And it just made me reminisce.
Okay. Oh, that's beautiful.
Her name is Julia. Her boyfriend is Heath. They were here yesterday, and I don't know. I was giving my teachings. I had a 5-day retreat, and she wrote some stuff in the back too for me. And it was amazing. I don't know. She went home and she made this artwork for me, and when she gave it to me, it made me reminisce on our experience. And it's an artwork unlike any other. I couldn't stop staring at it.
Take a picture of that?
You can't. I wanted to take a picture of yours. I wanted to share it on Instagram.
Oh, wow.
I wish I had more time so I can dig into these near life from other people, not just you, but other people also. You're the first that I got to speak with.
I woke up this morning determined to talk to somebody about my experience today, because I just need clarity. I went on YouTube, and there you were, about blissful beginnings, and you can see right here, bliss is the word I came back with. that I never talked like that. I'm blissful. I never said that.
So I wanted to give you my take on what Buddhism can do for you
Okay.
based on what you've told me. Is that the human realm is, and I said this yesterday also, and if you go back to my timeline, the human realm is a favorable rebirth realm, meaning due to the causes and conditions of our previous lives, it has we got to be where we are today. 10 toes, 10 fingers, intelligence, um, being able to logically. Oh, maybe I should close that, huh? Being able to discern, being able to do the human things that we do. However, the human realm consists of a mixture of suffering, which is agitation. The definition of suffering is agitation, stress, uneasiness, mental suffering, physical suffering. But we also have a mixture of pain and pleasure on the scale and spectrum. That's why, and when one gets too extreme, and if we don't find the middle way, which is the balance, then that's when people get suicidal and homicidal, depending on who they're with and what's going on in their life. That this is so overwhelming. School doesn't teach us the how, so of course we're going to deal with it the most human way we know how. You know, um, and let me ask you something. If I tell you, if I let me play God for a minute, just for a minute. I'm not a God, but if I said, Christy, your time will be up in 1 hour, will you be afraid
No.
of your kids? Where they're going to be, how they're going to survive, your direct advance, your power of attorney, all of this legality aspects of your life, your husband. I mean, have you made peace with all of that? Attachments.
I have a great family. I would hate to leave them, but I mean, if my time's up, I'd be ready to go.
But have you ever philosophically questioned your attachment to them?
Have I ever physically? I think I have.
The question said, I don't want to leave you because I want to see you grow. I don't want to leave you because you're my son, you're my daughter.
Oh, I want grandchildren. Something fierce.
But this is the spiritual path. The spiritual path is just that, is to ask these philosophical questions, the what ifs, in preparation for death.
I see. I like it. Okay.
So something we will work on. I just want to just start to ask some of these, to see where you are in the preparatory stage of your life.
Didn't prep for it all. Had no idea it was coming. It just kind of happened, and then I'm back, and I'm trying to make sense of it all. And now I'm very spiritual. Now I just want to be one with spirit and find it. And I try to find it at churches and bounce around, and I'm just not finding it.
It's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard. If you read Revelations and all, it's like people scratch their heads. People really scratch their heads trying to come to terms with these things.
Yeah.
In Buddhism, it's very simple. In Buddhism, is that your stream of consciousness will continue after you die, which is what you have experienced firsthand.
Yes.
And the other day, I actually posted something where there was a picture drawn, and it says, "Death is safe. It just feels like you're taking off a tight shoe." And there's an image of someone taking off their shoe. And I was like, and yes, death is safe. And I've never shared that.
Yeah, I agree. Like that would be the safe way out. Like it would be given out.
So what I'm going to tell you is,
I already know it's great.
Right.
So
Right.
it's like, okay, I know I'm here for a reason, right?
Before this near-death experience, where you're experiencing depression, anxiety, any mental illness, health that you want to share with me? Any disturbing emotions?
Yeah, I was a very depressed person. I did not I had 3 sons, and it was like, and working, and I had some health issues. And I didn't know, but I got bit by a tick, which gave me Lyme, which I was always sore and achy and tired and exhausted.
Lyme disease?
Yeah.
Oh.
So because the bacteria was blocking my heart signal, they had to put in a pacemaker. But this has taken years to figure out. In the midst of it, I just keep dropping 10 and going to the other side, which I got to do twice. And it's exhausting. And it does make you feel like you want to be in a corner when you don't have anybody to relate to, you know.
Right.
And like, I don't even know how I started talking about it. Like, I asked my husband, when did I start talking about it? And he's like, I don't know. It just started coming out. You just started saying, hey, I did this and this happened. So it's just making peace with what happened was real to me 1,000%. Like, there's like, I just know that there is eternal life, which means like your consciousness. And I keep telling my friends, you better like yourself, because you're stuck with you when you get up there. You are you. Whoever you are deep inside, whoever you really are at night, you know, when you close your eyes, you are still you. And I think that's important people know that. So if they need to get things right, they should. If they need to do something for their self-healing, I think it would be very important. I can see why maybe we all or come back and figure it out. But there were some things that I came back with that I wanted to ask you what they represent in Buddhism. And,
sure.
And yeah.
Okay. Sure.
So the first one was the be still. That's something that I heard afterwards, but okay. So I said, who am I? And it came back with, I am Christy. And we went back and forth.
There's your energy.
Woo! I tell you, it was like glitter up there.
There am I. There you are.
I am Christy. Hello. What about those who hurt me? And it came back with, it's okay. We are all connected. Love is God. God is love. Where are they going? They went left. And then like how I felt so blissful and peaceful there. And I got to ask questions. I remember asking these questions. And then knowing that free will, like I felt like you mentioned it a second ago about free will earlier. And it was like such a clarity of like, you wonder how people can do bad things. Like you see it on the news, you're just like, how can that happen? How can this be? You know, and even with the weather, how can that be? You know, and then, but it's this free will, the choice to do what you want to do. It is such a eye-opening when you realize, wow, people have total free will. If it wasn't for our laws, it would be a little scary. Because there's so much free will.
Right.
And I do feel we're all a little piece of God. Do you also? Is that how the Buddha, right? There's a little piece of him in all of us. And he wants to experience. Like
I defined that yesterday too. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's how I became okay with this vessel that I'm in. That I know it's temporary. It's me here on earth. But it's not me for eternity. So all those little things I just said to you. Like,
before, let me ask you this, because what I'm asking you is based on it's not Erik Erikson's theory. It's who's the guy that does dream analysis in psychoanalytic. You have to pardon me. 84,000 teachings with Western psychology in my head. But I wanted to ask you this before I make my accurate interpretation. Did you read up a lot about universe, love, and acceptance before you got the death experience?
There was a new book I was reading.
And what's important here is that you accepted that, the fact that love, acceptance, and connectedness, if you accepted that fact in your heart.
The way of the heart?
Just before this near-death experience, if you've researched, read, and accepted the universe, love, acceptance, and connectedness, which
Not
is
really.
interdependent. No.
No.
Okay. Well, then I would say, and if it,
I'm like dissecting these words like crazy. Like I got be still from God, and that's what brought me to the Bible. And a lot of this is coming. I see like love is God and God is love, and be still are like little catchphrases from the Bible.
so I guess you got your answer from God.
I don't know what to do with them.
It's simple. They told you what to do. You asked them about, what's going on here. Why do people? You got your answers all right there. So today I used the word God, which can interchange with universe.
And I
You
am
had
presence, yeah.
right.
Yeah, right,
You
right.
got
And that's another thing, yeah.
you got your answer from the universe, which says
The universe.
it's okay. We're all interconnected.
Yes.
Love is love.
Yes.
So when we look at that in details, it means that the true nature of reality of being human is that you're subject to all of these things here on earth. And it's okay to let it go. And love trumps all. Just like good will always trump evil. That's what it's telling you. It's telling you not to take it personal. The things that happen to you here on earth is not personal. Because the true nature of reality of being human is that we will be subject to birth, old age, disease, decay, and subsequent death. It's just like, well, what's the true nature of reality of a boat? Well, a boat leaks. That's what boats do. And the boat's like, why the hell am I leaking? If the boat could talk, the boat would ask the universe, well, why the hell did I leak? The universe would be like, that's your nature. Did you want it to last forever?
Yeah, that's the feeling I got with the whole free will thing, the realization of it all.
You got a very clear, direct message from what the universe wanted you to know, which is the true nature of reality of things. And to come back into Earth, and if you were sent back here, you were sent back here to deliver this message for the people. You have a calling, you have a new calling. And that means that come back and tell people that, you know what? As long as we're here on earth, we will be subject to all the things that's happening. Life.
Yeah.
Life comes at you. You will be cussed at, you will be praised, you will be blamed, you'll be exhausted, you will suffer, you will bleed, you will cry, you will laugh, you will have joy. You have all the 8 winds that the Buddha have described us. The 8 winds, when you look it up. 8 worldly winds. Everything that the Buddha taught us 2,566 years ago describes everything that you have direct experience, rare direct experience. Let me ask you this about your birth. Was there anything unique about your birth?
I was born at 12, on 12/12, at 12/20.
Anything unique, like did you crawl, walk, didn't cry, or just stood up and just started walking?
No.
C-section? No.
Nothing special there, really. I was 48 hours. My mom was like in labor for 48 hours.
Well, you're already doing something meaningful now, which is at hospice.
I am, since I've been back. Yeah, I wanted to, because I told, when I had my talk to the universe, I said I was a good person, but I also felt like I could be a great person. So I came back with that mission to try to be a great person. And I wanted to still be connected to those that are dying. Because I had so much loss. I mean, we lost my grandma, my stepdad. We did lose a lot of people with the whole COVID thing, So, and I got a little puppy when I got a pacemaker. So I decided to get her. She went through this little quick puppy dog therapy thing to do hospice with me. So that's what I'm trying to do, is to bring love and smiles. And then if they want to hear my journey that I had on the other side, because they're about to go 6 months or less, I feel like that's the space I can share my story that people might want to listen and maybe find joy out of it, because it was so exciting. But it was horrible coming back.
In Buddhism, horrible coming back And the other wise fear, keyword wise fear, is having to leave again without the guarantee of what you will be reborn next, according to the 6 rebirth realms. And that is dependent on the level of merits that you have been making while you're on earth, which is all the good deeds you have been making since you're on earth. If you have the question of whether you have dedicated your body, speech, and mind for the benefit of humanity will determine your rebirth. What you got there, the fact that you got sent back is a complete blessing from a Buddhist standpoint, because you weren't meant to die. You were meant to taste something and then bring that back here to deliver to us. But had you fully went, well, if you would have fully went, you wouldn't be sitting here. You would have taken rebirth. And I would assume that you probably rebirthed into another human. The fact that you got sent back speaks volumes. Did your grandparents ever donate to charity back then? Did they ever do anything great or good for humanity? Or anyone that you can trace along the ancestry line?
I don't even have a very tight family.
Did you yourself or your husband done anything great for charity work or helping the poor or homeless or cancer institutes, anything like that?
I help children with autism. That's what I have been doing when my own son was diagnosed with autism.
Your whole life, did you give more and took less?
Try?
How?
I just try not to ask for things, I guess. Work for things. If I want something, I work hard for it. I believed in hard work. I believe in karma, that's for sure. But I haven't always made great choices, no. I mean, but this time around, I'm really trying.
Buddhism relies on evidence to draw conclusions from. And what the book says is that when we suffer and where we suffer, we're just here on earth. And if you are suffering now, both physically or mentally, it gives rise of the past deeds that you have done, either in this lifetime or previous lifetimes.
I was really abused as a child, and I was coming to terms with a lot of that before my near-death experience. I found my inner child, and I had to pick her up and kind of meditate her through the years and literally go through my entire life with her with a different viewpoint. And that is something that I did do before the near-death experience. Is I did go in and I found my inner child because I needed to heal her from all the abuse. And that's why, like, when I was up there, my first question was, or the only one I really remember besides the other one, but is, where did the people that hurt us go? I mean, that was
so
deep in my intent, I guess.
So something to reflect on is that the magnitude and depth of our suffering here and now gives rise to our karmic debts that we have accumulated either in this lifetime or previous lifetimes. So what does that mean for us proceeding forward? Well, if you don't want to come back here, which you got to come back here, a very rare experience. This is why I'm recording this, and just because it's so not a lot of people fully grasp until you actually come back and you're like, damn it. And you know what, just yesterday, if you go back to my 4-hour live video that I was telling new students, just like you, brand new, spanking new, in their 60s and 70s, sitting in that room right over there, I told them I spoke about sainthood. And nowadays people are like, what? You want to be a saint? The hell? They don't get it. Mm-hmm. Sainthood in Buddhism is letting everything go. It's pretty easy to be a saint in Buddhism. You don't have to perform miracles. You just have to let everything go. let greed, anger, and ignorance go.
Mm-hmm.
And if you become a saint in Buddhism, which is an arahant, you no longer take rebirth into the human realm. No more. That's it. You're done. You're going to be in where you were for a very, 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 very long time.
That would be awesome.
And you will be working your way towards Buddhahood to become a Buddha. Every Buddha was a saint, but not every saint becomes a Buddha. So I imagine that once you get to the fourth stage of enlightenment, that you just kind of hang out up there and probably read more books to become a Buddha, because the Buddha has to know everything in addition to have given up everything. But an arahant just have to give up everything, but they don't have to know everything. Mm-hmm. So I spoke about sainthood, and people were scratching their heads, and I told them I want to be a saint because I don't want to come back in this lifetime dealing with COVID again, dealing with all of these things again. So proceeding on forward for you is something I want you to really look into. So if you don't want to come back, and if you use these methods, it may be the best and most appropriate methods for you, which is the determination of not wanting to come back. And there are steps for that. Written, you after today, you look up the 4 stages of enlightenment in Buddhism, and it tells you the how in a methodical order, a methodology. Because in Buddhism, everything is methods and the scientific methods. So even if I was a Buddha sitting here in front of you, you're not to believe anything I say. You're supposed to test it and see it for yourself. Mm-hmm. All of his teachings, he invited us to test. You've already got to test involuntarily, got to prove a hypothesis that not many people get to do, a rare few. And one of the most profound experience that a human could ever experience, which is what you went through. So I hope that is enough compelling evidence upon deep reflection for you to look into this path, if this path is appropriate for you. Mm-hmm. Truly. And if you've looked elsewhere in your comparison and contrast with other religion and philosophy, it may stop here.
Yeah, it may. It may. I tell you, I'm carrying around, and here I have like all these books. Like I wanted to do goddess painting parties and stuff. Like look, like all these books on goddesses. I tried to do the chakras, the energy codes. You know, the children that returned with their stories, and they remember past lives. Oh, there you go. Like I have been researching.
Return from Heaven by Carol Bowman.
I'm carrying around books after books, just trying to get knowledge. Like, okay, piecing this together, because
you don't have to anymore. Well, I mean, it's up to you.
Yeah, I feel like, because by trade here on Earth, I'm a VPK teacher, and perhaps I'm supposed to write books for kids on how to be still, how to forgive, how do we deal with those that hurt us. Like that to me feels like something I would like to do, but when I sit down, I'm not a writer and I don't know what to exactly write. So I'm like, come on, tell me.
But do you know how to forgive someone who has hurt us?
Ooh, that's a good question. I guess that's where I gotta start.
See, when you sit there in front of a authentic, qualifying, experienced teacher, we will dig into your spirituality. And before you came, I told you I wanted to see the student's stage and level of growth and development in their spirituality. People talk about spirituality all day, every day, but when you ask them the how, they can't answer it.
I think I got really lucky because of the experience when I came back. It was because I knew we were all human and we all make mistakes, and it's okay. It's like, it's okay. We're human. Like, it doesn't even matter what happened in the past. I'm still alive. You did not, like, nobody can hurt me inside. Like, I know the physical body can still get hurt really bad. It's still in a lot of pain. I get that. But like my inner soul light, it's like, I know, like, there's, like, nobody can tell me any different, because like you said, I saw it in my own eyes and experienced it. I remember it, and I can't sleep at night because I'm still thinking about it, like, all the time. It's like, gotta go away a little bit, because I still gotta work and deal with reality. And I do feel like I'm having a little bit of a time, like it's like somebody believing and knowing and being there, and you've seen it. The people in my life and my day-to-day life have never been there, never seen it, and don't even want to talk about it. So just having someone that close, like I'd love to be a part of whatever. I don't even know what this is, but
So Buddhism teaches us the how to forgive.
mm-hmm.
Any and every how that you can imagine. How do I let go? How do I make peace? How do I forgive people who've hurt me? How do I overcome the trauma? All of these difficult hows that often psychotherapists scratch their heads, and other people across other religions scratch their heads. The Buddha left us 84,000 teachings and teaching us the exact how to do that. So, at the time of this conversation, you don't have any prognosis, right? So that's a good thing.
Nope.
But you should put a prognosis on yourself. Because every breath we take is closer to death.
Yeah.
And if we have a message to give, an effective message to give, and if you want to reach out to children, which is an amazing endeavor, learn the how first and foremost, so that when I ask you again, how do you forgive someone who's hurt you so bad? And how do we alleviate anger? How do we resolve anger? When I test you again and you know the how comprehensively, effectively, and can put it into words where children can understand,
right,
then not only you will, well, your books will be quite eternal, as eternal as it's ever going to get in this lifetime,
right,
for these to inspire these kids. So I want you to go home and I want you to think about, well, do I continue reading, or have I found a good working way of life to work with from now until the remaining balance of my life in learning the how to forgive, fully start cleaning our plates.
Yeah.
Cleaning our plates, coming to term, coming to peace, and the cultivation of your own sainthood if you don't want to come back.
I do want to come back. I mean, I don't want to come. Yeah, I get you.
You get what I'm saying?
I do now.
Okay.
Yeah.
As a human, as a human,
right?
A human is considered a favorable rebirth realm. But to me, I have a strong opinion about how the hell is this favorable.
I'm right with you.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Well, the only favorable thing is that we were blessed with the intelligence necessary to study what needs to be studied, practice what needs to be practiced, and know what needs to be known in order to achieve enlightenment once and for all. That's it. Done. Parinibbana. Out of here. Okay? One way to Nirvana. That's it. Not come back. So yeah, so I will give you the recommendation of that, and to not waste time on things that are not conducive, productive, of any effective assistance on the spiritual path.
I agree.
Right? Because the problem is we think we have time and we don't. And it could take years to perfect the things that the Buddha have left us, the methods that he's left us, including meditation. Meditation is the hardest thing to do. The cultivation of the heart in the threefold training. I've meditated for 20 years in order to now access that peace again. And I can.
Wow.
But not out of body experience. It is the peace that within the body experience, of free of disturbing emotions. But I want that. I want you to have that. I want everyone to have that. That's why I'm doing the great work that I'm doing.
Yes.
And again, that's something I want you to really fully reflect on. Is I have a long list to do. There is a long list to do in Buddhism.
Okay.
And it's a challenge, and it's a good challenge, to propel us towards sainthood. It's 4 stages. You don't just like become an arahant right away. It's a rare thing. There's stream entry, once returner, no returner, and fully enlightened being. So again, when you look closely, examining the teachings of the Buddha, which is the most comprehensive and effective educational system, you will find your answers there.
Yeah, I seem to relate to all of it when I hear you guys speak.
Oh, good.
What should I get first? Like, what should I read first? Like, where are the lessons? Like on Google?
It's everywhere. Yeah. BuddhaNet.net, the Four Noble Truth. I think you would start out with the Four Noble Truth.
The Four Noble Truth.
Yes. You know, Four Noble Truth. I can text it over to you on BuddhaNet.net on Google. You're gonna need to look up at least 5 sources of the Four Noble Truth from different various sources online to gather and conclude what is the Buddha talking about here. He left us 45 years of teachings, 84,000 teachings in those 45 years. In 45 years, he left us 84,000 teachings. That's 45 volumes. Each volume is this big, but it's all compressed into the Four Noble Truth. But as you read the Four Noble Truth, it sounds very simple. But you really have to ask yourself, do you see it? You know, there is suffering in life. Have you seen suffering? Have you experienced suffering in life? What type of suffering? You have to really go deep into these questions within you. And then we suffer as a direct result of desire, of excessive wants and desire. And you got to ask yourself, dear Christy, what desire do I have right now that constitutes suffering?
Okay.
And I said all this yesterday in a 4-hour class.
I watched some of it on the way here.
Okay. And then there's
not on the way here, but I listened to it on the way here. I didn't watch it.
And then if you dig into the library of teachings,
okay,
and if you start making comparison and contrast and just trying to see, you know, what are we talking about?
Yeah.
You can even look up other venerables and monks that talk about the Four Noble Truth, and they'll go into details. But it is the reflections that will help you see it.
Okay.
There's the intellectual part of us that says, yeah, I get it. But then the spiritual side of us also needs to be convinced and aware that, yes, I have in fact seen suffering and what constitutes my suffering. And I know how to stop the suffering. And when you have this clear determination, it will propel you towards the path of enlightenment with unshakable faith and confidence. Okay, the same type of determination that we have. I mean, you all of you across the world has to ask, what is a 35-year-old monk sitting here continuing this path for what? The only one tradition that cannot charge money, right? What is it in it for him? You have to ask, what is the venerable's motive and intention?
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
So I've already told people that. I've already told you know what? Because I don't want to come back. And if I have to give up a $70,000 job, which I did as a judicial interpreter, I'm okay with that. And if I had to give up sex, money, worldly pleasure, I own nothing, I want nothing, in order to get to that peace that you experience, well, hell, I'm all for it.
Right.
Yeah. Does all this make sense so far?
Yes, it does. Yeah. It does. I know it's not a Buddhism call, but I went down to Fort Myers to help them clean up after the flood, and I did like just like a little prayer, and they took off all my jewelry and got my work clothes on, and I was like I find my own little mission, to go help them clean up, and we had to tear out drywall, and I was taking out cans from their pantry, and water was dripping on me because the seawater was so high in their house, in their kitchen. So worldly possessions like that was a moment here on earth where I got to experience that just for a second, so I know what I mean. I can't imagine what it's like to be like that all the time.
Well, less is more.
Huh?
When you own nothing and want nothing, you have no fear of losing anything.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? The more you have, the more you have to guard.
Right.
And when you have to guard something, guard your possessions, and oh my God, I have so much money, I'm afraid I might get sued. So you need a legal team to always be there. Right. All of these anxiety that we have created because of worldly desires.
I gave up real estate for that. I have my real estate license, and I just got hired on right before the hurricane hit. And I was like, you know what? After the hurricane and everything, I was like, this isn't me. This isn't me anymore. I don't want to be in this corporate world. I don't want to be talking about houses. I want to be talking about spirituality and, how kids find their soul, are people that can help me get to that path, So I appreciate your time today talking to me.
Yeah.
And I look forward to, I have that same tree.
Oh yeah. So, you know, so in the forthcoming days, you will be studying about the Four Noble Truth. We'll always touch up on the Four Noble Truth, even in the subcategories of it, just because that's what comprises our main practice. And we will talk about karma. Okay. And I really invite you to go back to yesterday's talk and really analyze it again about the teachings on karma.
Okay.
Because the yesterday was the offering of robes ceremony, which speaks in details about how karma works and the merits that we need to propel us, and to also alleviate and cushion that fall of pain and suffering. And it's dependent on the amount of, so merits is like spiritual currency.
I get it. Right when you said it, I felt that when I said, because when I told him I think I'm a good person, I actually felt like I know I need to come back and be a better person and get better, like better merits. You know,
Right.
I don't have the right words to use yet, but
Yeah, as humans is good, better, best.
Yeah.
Never let it rest until your good is better, and better is best.
There you go. I like that.
Right.
Yeah.
And so even people within the stages of enlightenment still continue to do good, just because they've already entered, across the finishing line doesn't mean that they stop. And once the Buddha became a Buddha, once he has fully achieved enlightenment, and once he's like, oh my God, the Buddha now, he continued to do good. He could just disappear. But he didn't. He stayed. He stayed to continue his teachings. He continued sitting meditation, walking meditation. You get to really ask his motive here. It's like, okay, all right, dude, once you became the Buddha, why did you continue doing all these things, and put yourself in grave danger? He put himself in grave danger. His own cousin tried to kill him 3 times. Well, what does that mean? That means even if we haven't even got near sainthood yet, but you have to, again, back with the doing good deeds, giving more and taking less. And when you have nothing else to give, you give your time, energy, and effort, like you did down at the hurricane thing. So, and that's something I want you to also write in your children's book to come. I promoted this one gal earlier this year who did a children's book on Buddhism. She's actually here in, what is it? Not St. Pete, but I gotta find the book. I'll give you the book.
Okay.
So that you have inspiration. I want you to put the book on your shelf, so you have inspiration yourself.
I would love that.
And as a reminder that, hey, I spoke to Jidao, and Jidao told me that I need to learn the how, and then I'll pass on the knowledge of the how to children.
Yes.
And reach the next generation, because this generation is probably doomed. So you need to reach the emerging ones.
Grandkids.
The grandkids.
Yeah. Grandkids of the future.
Yeah.
Seriously, yeah.
But
thank you.
I'm excited to have you.
So do you have people here every week, or how does that room work? Do you
every Sunday? Every Sunday.
Okay.
Every
What
Sunday.
time?
9 in the morning.
9 in the morning. Okay.
I just coordinated with Candy so that we have a lot of practitioners in here that uses space and room for all sorts of events that they're holding. But for me in Buddhism, it's going to be 9 every morning.
Sunday, 9 every morning.
Correct.
Wonderful.
Correct.
All right.
So,
well,
you feel a little bit better?
I do. Thank you so much.
Someone that understands?
Yes. Somebody that understands, been there, and can give me a path of where to go from here. I mean, it's got me going everywhere. I got goddess parties, so like women can find their inner selves, like so we can paint together, like just to come together,
Right.
So like my whole life is in here. And then
it's amazing you brought it to share with me.
Yes. And then the energy codes, I wanted your opinion on that. It's like different yoga poses that open up different synapses, something in your brain. And she's like creating a whole army of women in the beginning of next year to do the energy codes, or has to do with the chakras, and Buddhism has to do with the chakras. So I don't know. It's like all my learnings are like coming together when I've been watching you, but then today you said something, the blissful come here. You don't have to go to a coffee shop anymore. You can come here for your spiritual.
Be a
lessons.
library. I'm working with Christina, the owner here, so that I can bring my whole library and put it in that room, so it will become a center for spiritual learning.
It is much needed. Me and my girlfriend Tina, we drive up and down looking for cafes, new cafes, just somewhere we can go and talk. She fell off a bike and had was in a coma for a couple of days, and she had a near-death experience. She talks like above my head a little bit sometimes, where she's at. But I'm just saying, I'm seeking her out, because she's spiritual now. She was on the other side too, so she's trying to find her voice, and she's making these little inspire acts of kindness journals.
Is this just from her?
Yeah, this is from her. And it's just a journal of emptiness that the kids fill out. Yeah.
Oh,
and then if you open the very back, it's like has hearts in the very back. In the very back of it, hearts to remind them to be kind, and they can check it off. I think I got one check. But I'm gonna do better.
That is awesome.
So
look at that.
Yeah, so
good.
I mean,
frame those.
Oh,
frame
them.
Yes, frame them, because so what if you cross on the other side again down the road? You want these to be, you're an inspiration. Listen, your experience is like a platinum experience. Wow. You have to frame that, because you're going to be a speaker down the road. You're going to a public speaker down the road, because there's so many people who are not awake. Yeah. That's my job, right? My job is to bring the light to them, to open their eyes about this. Well.
With that light tonight.
Well, you did that.
But and then the second time I was microscopic with the microbes, and I was scared of them, and they let me know that they were the ones in control, and it wasn't me. As humans, we have no control over this world. We could all be gone tomorrow.
You became a microorganism?
Yes.
Oh, you know what you just got a taste of? The animal rebirth realm.
I ran under that mushroom for help.
You got all sorts of good experiences. You see, lately in my head, I'll share this now, because I have reserved noble silence on certain things that I should not say, because I just don't want people to I'll say it now. Certain leaders in the world who have made decisions in regards to war will later become parasites.
Right.
This is the animal rebirth realm. Not anything that is of organisms that, and the fact that you knew you were an organism, a microorganism, even though it's still an organism. The fact that you knew and you were there, and you were like, holy shoot.
They're huge.
The hell?
Yeah. Wholly different world.
You just reinforced what I have been keeping silent on, because I don't want people to judge that, oh my God, Chi Dao is such a judgmental monk. I'm not judgmental. I'm accurate in my impression about the evil that these leaders are doing. I mean, just evil across the world.
Right.
You do evil to people, you're going to become a parasite. Exactly what she wrote. Well, that's what she drew here. You know what I mean? But
I've never felt so insignificant.
What a profound statement you said. If you don't want to, this is an unfavorable rebirth realm. And tonight you go home and you look up 6 realms of rebirth, and you read the animal realm rebirth, and you realize that, holy cow, I took rebirth in this realm for a good minute, and I knew how terrifying it actually really was.
That one was 20 seconds.
And if you don't want to come back here,
that was scary.
Time for you to look at.
Different. That's what I'm saying.
You need to frame this.
And the doctors made me die there, though. You know what I'm saying? The first one was natural, whatever God wanted. This one, the doctors put me at a 70-degree angle, and my heart stopped. They were like pushing me to the point.
Wow.
So I know I feel like I was going like, I need to talk to somebody in the spiritual realm can help me because I don't know what I'm supposed to do with all this.
It's terrifying, isn't it?
Yeah. But thank you for the enlightenment about the animal world. Like, I'll look into that.
Yeah, Hitler's one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's there for a very, very long time. And likewise, I try to use analogies to help people understand that certain karmic debts will carry multiple, a lot of lifetime. We've seen sentences that judges hand down here in the human. We've seen judges hand down 4 consecutive life sentences plus 25 years.
Yeah, isn't that like, okay?
But they make their mark.
But they should not. I don't think they should.
But Hitler's going to be in that realm for a very long time. Very long time with the amount of killings that he's done.
Why do you think I went there?
To learn. To know.
Fear.
To know.
Insignificance.
You know what? The universe have a very big agenda for you, young lady. You got to taste something that nobody ever got to taste. Especially if this much amount of experience all in just that right there. And if this is true and correct according to your account.
Yes, sir.
And I hope that at the time of this interview that you're not under the influence of drug or alcohol.
No, not at all.
Not delusional, no. Not all of this. That if these accounts are true and accurate, yes, then the universe wanted you to taste what the Buddha has been warning people. Mm-hmm. See that guy right there? Mm-hmm. He's been warning people about this.
Look at mine.
But whether we heed the advice of the wise is up to us. And the fact that you have tasted this. And later tonight, when you read the 6th rebirth realm, you realize, holy cow, I kind of like experienced it. Now I got to go back. It's like I'm giving you penicillin. It cures you, but you don't really know how this penicillin helped you get rid of this infection.
Right.
Then you go back and you read about the mechanics of the penicillin and you realize, oh, that is so cool. I want more penicillin, and leave it there for a rainy day. So what you experienced was just that you got the full shebang. Now you go back to the text that was founded in Buddhism that will concur with your experience.
Thank you. Yes, that's what I'm looking for.
And you realize, oh, you will have an oh shit experience after you read it. You read you were like, oh my God.
Because if I was reading, I wasn't finding it. I was like, no, but when I hear you, I'm like, yes, that's what I'm talking about. I was there. I know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
So it was a pleasure meeting you today in person.
Yeah.
I've known you for a while.
We monks have that wise fear to the degree that we observe things in nature and things in this world, the old age, decay, disease, birth, death, to inhale that wise fear and not to do harm to people so that we don't become that parasite that you have experienced yourself. We read the text and we believe the text with unshakable faith and confidence because we've tested his teachings where we could test them. We can test a hypothesis and see the results. Mm-hmm. And because most of his teachings can be tested with empirical evidence, we have no doubt about his explanations on karma and the rebirth realms, even though it's like you can't really experience the rebirth realms unless we find someone like you to interview, Mm-hmm. But you have golden experience there. Don't ever forget it, and look forward to writing books down the road. But I'm going to do my part to teach you what needs to be taught. Your job is to take a lot of notes, go home, reflect, and then start the writing process. How would you start the writing process? Well, it's simple. You have iPhone or what? Go get yourself the iPad thing. This got that Siri, right? Siri, you know how to use Siri?
Yeah.
Hit Siri and let Siri type for you. You just talk.
Just talk.
And the editors, whoever down the road, I'll hook you up with some publishing companies. They will help you sort out all the words and the grammar. Yes. Because when we think of writing a book, we're like, oh my God, I don't know the template. I don't know what font, double space. You don't have to worry about that. I don't even worry about that.
I've watched so many on YouTube on how to write a book and the Amazon way, the Kindle way, the Christian way, and in this way, but it doesn't feel right with the Catholic Church or the Christian. That's not how I feel. I felt up there. But the I am was very, very there. Like,
so don't freak out.
That's real.
So don't freak. I'm sitting in front of you. It's very real.
Yeah.
So don't freak out. It serves as a good nudge, good spiritual nudge for you to wake up and realize, okay, all right, well now I have an opportunity to change.
Yeah.
You can craft your own karma now. You got a second chance.
Yeah.
Okay, but don't think you might have a third. Okay.
Right.
We don't know your merits that's behind you. Okay. Thank you for coming, Christy. I think I enjoyed this more than you did.
No, yeah, so good. I'm glad to see that that it's inspired you, that you find it enlightening. Like, because I didn't know where I was coming from with this, and just like, look, this is what I got. This is who I am, and this is what happened. What do I do with it all? I just want to say thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. You know that we depend on donations to survive.
I didn't know what I was getting myself into, like coming and calling you out of the blue. I appreciate you picking up the phone because I was definitely in a tizzy today. But you've given me some homework, and I definitely will be back Sunday at 9 a.m.
Yes. Feel free to text if you get confused along the way or scratch your head on certain things.
Okay.
It's okay for that. But slowly, you're gonna your wishes will be fulfilled on your spiritual path. You're closer to enlightenment than you think. The fact that you already have direct experience. Well, one of the things that Buddha wanted us to do is to have direct experience. Direct experience. He doesn't want us to take things on blind faith. And so that's what's confusing, is that other religion, you're like, wait, is my prayers being answered? Like, what the hell? What the hell is going on here? Like, I keep on asking and I'm not getting, and nothing is being improved. What the hell? What kind of test is this? And the Buddha didn't want people to just based on him on blind faith. So, young lady, you're closer to sainthood than you think. So be excited.
I am.
Use what you got.
Okay.
With the assistance of a good teacher.
I do need a good teacher. And
I can't wait to sit and meditate with you.
I know.
Once you reach that level, because people who have already experienced peace, when they sit together and meditate, they just they communicate with their eyes, and they look at each other and they realize it's kind of like a VR headset, and they realize, let's go there again. And then they just meditate, and once they close their eyes, they're just in supreme bliss of peace. Yeah.
I would love that.
So
I can get there for like 3 seconds. I'm like, oh man, dog's barking. Or I hear a truck. You know what I mean?
That's my job. My job is to try to help you perfect that part of your life.
Hopefully I can sleep tonight now having some answers. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Super excited, huh?
Me too.
I'll see you Sunday, huh?
Yes.
If you need me sooner, just call me.
All right.
Okay?
Thank you so much.
Take care. All right, folks, I have to appear on the panel with Venerable Sarananpala, also known as the Urban Buddhist monk, on YouTube. I have to contribute to their discussion, so I see you all there. But I wanted to do this with her permission so that I can preserve the interview later on for evidence and research purposes. And I like to conclude this video with, I met her, I've seen her through other metric and rubric system. I have found that this is deemed to be credible. At the time of the interview, she's not under the influence of drug, alcohol. I don't believe that she has any, where I can see right there, any existence of DSM-5 diagnosis that would warrant the consideration that this is a story that is being made up, and that everything that she has told me is consistent with what we have read in the text, and she is in fact deemed credible as evidence-based for the purposes of research, and for those who are conducting research in rebirth realms and or near-death experience, has my thumbs up and approval. So at this time, I'd like to conclude my talk. I gotta take off. Literally in 30 minutes, I have to appear again to give and to listen to other monks. Again, you guys want to join us and see the faces of other monks, it will be on the Urban Buddhist Monk right here on YouTube. Search it. Or you can go back to my live here, but you only see my face and only hear their voice because I don't know how to do all that fancy stuff. Again, thank you for joining, and see you guys in 30 minutes.